Mike Cardano with Roto Experts of the Fantasy Sports Network here with you to provide our Week 7 market share report. Now this is the segment where we review the previous week's on-field action, highlighting the wide receivers that earned the most targets, the running backs that received the most carries, and which players saw the most chances to score inside the red zone. Now perhaps the most important term you'll hear me use while analyzing things here is the phrase market share. This is a metric that we use to identify which players are getting the highest percentage of their team's play calling, and since we know that opportunity breeds success, you're going to want to make special note of that. Now, Jordy Nelson once again had a massive amount of targets this past week. His 16 targets led to 28.7 DraftKings points, and it was the fourth time in 6 games that Nelson has received at least 12 targets. Nelson's combination of high volume and the quality connection between he and Aaron Rodgers makes him one of the most reliable, expensive wide receivers week in and week out. Nelson shared the target leaderboard with Cecil Shorts, who recorded 22.3 points. Mohamed Sanu received 14 targets with AJ Green out, leading to 31 points. And Matt Forte continues to be a PPR monster as he received 13 targets out of the backfield, which, in addition to his contributions in the running game, led to 37.7 DraftKings points. Forte is on pace for 123 receptions, and he's the safest week-to-week running back because of the targets he receives. Now, the most disappointing receivers of the week were Vincent Jackson and Julio Jones. Jackson was less of a surprise as his catch rate has been low all season, and he converted his 13 targets into just 10.6 DraftKings points. Julio Jones, on the other hand, was a big surprise, scoring only 10.9 points of his 12 targets. Now, I really wouldn't be concerned with Jones, though, as this appears to have been more than an anomaly than anything else. The important part with him is that he's an elite talent who's getting plenty of opportunities to succeed week in and week out. Marcus Wheaton and Jericho Cotchery were the only wide receivers with 10 or more targets that failed to score double-digit points. In total, 20 players received at least 10 targets in Week 6. These players averaged 19.19 DraftKings points, and so you can continue to see that opportunity truly does breed fantasy success. Surprise! DeMarco Murray continues to lead the league in carries week in and week out. He's yet to receive less than 22 carries in a game, and he turned his Week 6 leading 29 carries into 29.6 DraftKings points. Now, he was one of 6 players to hit 20 or more carries on the week, and these 6 players recorded an average of 24.15 points, with a low of 17.6. Now, the biggest takeaways for me from Week 6 were that Brandon Oliver was getting a workhorse role, 86.67% market share of the carries. And Ronnie Hillman received 24 carries in place of the injured Monty Ball. Hillman had a big workload and success on the ground despite a stout New York Jet run defense. Also, Cam Newton's ankle finally looks healthy again. His 17 rush attempts were more than his first 4 games combined and led to a breakout 38.1 point performance. Now, although the results were disappointing, there is some hope for Bishop Sankey if Sean Green remains out, as he was tied for 8th with 18 carries and a solid 78.26% market share. Now, I think it's important to note that the 2 lowest scoring running backs on the carries leaderboard were Andre Williams and Frank Gore. Now, in order to return value, both backs have to be extremely touchdown dependent because they don't contribute much as receivers. In total, just 17 running backs saw at least 15 carries in Week 6. This continues the trend of timeshare at the running back position in the NFL and places a bigger premium on predicting the opportunities. Let's check out our RedZone Opportunities leaderboard. Remember, a RedZone opportunity is simply defined as a carry or a target on a play that starts inside the opponent's 20-yard line. Historically, these opportunities are more valuable the closer you get to the goal line, as the touchdown rates increase with each yard closer to the opponent's end zone. Brandon Oliver led the way in Week 6 with 9 RedZone opportunities. He converted 1 of those into a touchdown, and his diversified but heavy usage in the passing game, the running game, and red zone makes him a very high floor option in an injury-riddled backfield. Now, the top 3 running backs on the carries leaderboard, Brandon Oliver, DeMarco Murray, and Ben Tate, were also the top 3 on the RedZone opportunities board. How about that? They averaged 24.93 DraftKings points, and identifying workhorse running backs continues to pay big dividends. Matt Forte was fourth in red zone opportunities this week, and he's the only player to show up on all three leaderboards. Carlos Hyde led the 49ers in red zone opportunities with 4, but Frank Gore leads them in market share of carries. Since neither contributes much in the passing game, both those backs are huge risks week to week, even in favorable matchups. Now, Jordy Nelson's huge overall volume extended into the red zone as he was one of only 2 wide receivers with 4 red zone opportunities in week 6. The other was Marcus Wheaton, who at just 5'11" failed to convert any of his 4 red zone opportunities into a touchdown. Wheaton is now averaging a paltry 0.24 fantasy points per opportunity on the season. Greg Olsen was one of the 2 tight ends to crack the red zone opportunities leaderboard. He often gets overlooked as a top tight end option, but now leads all tight ends in targets on the season and is 4th among them in red zone opportunities. For a more in-depth analysis on market share leaders for the season, head on over to rotoexperts.com and sign up for the Daily Fantasy Football Package. Our experts, Drew Dinkmeyer and Mike Leone, get you ready each week with strategy articles, site-specific cheat sheets, and recommendations that highlight the top value plays each week and send you updated injury information right to your inbox with our lineup alerts feature. Become a member of the Daily Fantasy Rundown team at rotoexperts.com by signing up for the Daily Fantasy Football Package. For Roto Experts and the Fantasy Sports Network, I'm Mike Cardano.